As I'm sure you know, I'm Max Beto, and to engage with Professor Brunette and Kylie, I did my absolute best to just be myself, without fear of being judged for what I say or do. I know you remember me from a lot of things because I volunteered for everything and did so by being creative. From my intro speech, where I incorporated my name into every sentence. Or being one of the guys who always sat with the other four guys in the middle row every time. The guy who was trying to sell phones every presentation, the guy who got emotionally attached to bonus marks, and the guy who wore a suit to his Red Bull Man of the Year speech. I'll be completely transparent in the reason I joined the course, and it was because this is a pharmacy school requirement. But right after the first lecture, I realized I actually liked my nights in class. It was the first time in university that I knew the people in the course, and I really liked making friends. My initial goals were simple: to be able to show others I am a confident speaker for my job, getting over nerves and stuttering, and to get a good grade. My expectations were to turn the nerves into a driving force to do these talks, and to get rid of the judgmental feeling. My initial score of the PRPSA survey was 95 for step 1 and 34 for step 2, and after the course I scored 69 and 50, so I definitely improved. To demonstrate Kolb's learning cycle, I have picked the lab in which we played cards. We got set up in groups of 4 while having a partner to play a game similar to euchre. The group read the rules and diverged to the strategy of the game. Even though there was no talking, the body language of Tristan and I made sure the others knew that we were the coordinators. We ended up winning with little to no complaints, even though the rules changed with every new table. At last, Tim and Kylie finally broke the news that there were changes in the rules, and sadly, our bonus marks were taken away. Critical thinking of the past occurrences made everyone reflect on the confused look on the other table's faces. The class was then able to assimilate the experience they just had and collectively piece it together with everyone else and what they were thinking. Being able to share the experiences with the class, patterns and common social norms in group theory were established. Attitudes were able to be put into categories such as leader, listener, follower, competitive, and laid back. These categories allowed us to converge to conclusions about working in groups and collaborating with others who may not necessarily agree with us. Finally, the end of the cycle ends with exercising what we have just discovered. The conclusions we just made can now be integrated into future group activities. This is an important concept because working in groups is the foundation for a we orientation, and we must accommodate others to the best of our ability. Like society, we need everyone's participation to accomplish goals. Professor Brunette stressed the idea of getting people to know your name, so I revolved my entire speech around saying it. My main takeaways is that this was the speech I was the most nervous for, so I had lots of prep, lots of anxiety, my hands were shaking, and I definitely drank too much coffee. As soon as it started, though, I felt better. At the end of it, I remember the entire class repeating my name as I prompted them. My observations were simple. Nice work, good start, keep up the prep, the confidence is coming. And I remember a lot of other people's, so I wrote them down. And just a few of them, Haley has a 17-pound cat named Captain Crunch, and Laura's going to Quebec for an exchange program. In the major speech, a lot changed. There was such little time to fit such a large topic in, so I had to be selective to be effective. My personal observations were that I had an outstanding execution. I was on a roll, except for my PowerPoint being unreadable. My digestible approach got good reactions. But my observations from others were that there were so many different opinions and beliefs that I never been exposed to before, and also everyone had a different way of presenting data. The prep differences were major as the professional, informational style prompted research and the use of PowerPoint. During the Everest simulation, the first thing I realized is that group work is not as easy as it seems, especially in stressful situations. After the failed attempts on the first day, we quickly realized we needed a strategy change. We began copying every piece of information into the chat to find the exclusive information. We made all personal goals known, and we proceeded much more cautiously based on the information. We started taking votes and only deciding with a 5-0 vote in favor. Ubuntu ideals that were learned in class inspire this approach that we all move together. The personal and team goals were achieved as well, but only on the second day after we started moving up the mountain as a unit. Even though we never reached the top, at least we got the team points for sticking together. The takeaways of the final speech, the ceremonial speech, were that the tone drastically shifted with there being funerals, weddings, and awards. and the manuscript was either the downfall or the savior of the speech. My observations were that I grasped the podium at times, and it was difficult matching the atmosphere. However, I excelled in my audience prompts. With other speeches, I saw so many ideas I never even thought to do, and to be honest, I learned more about the person based on what type of ceremony they picked. The prep changed in the way that there was no memorization, just cadence, and because there was a podium, posture needed to be incorporated into the practicing. So here's the mind map that I created, and I made it based on colors being the categories. So in the top right in red are the people that I was already familiar with because they were my friends before entering. Down in the pink is people that I actually became friends with during the class. In the blue are people that I don't think that I heard enough of, but they were in class, and I do think they have potential but didn't talk as much as they should have. And in the brown are people that did not show up to class and that I can't really formulate an opinion because I don't really know them very well. In the left, in the dots, are the people that I think that are exceptional speakers, but I personally didn't get that one-on-one experience with them. And in the top, in the lightning lines, are the people that were in my Everest group, and I know so much about them because I had to deal with them for 2 whole classes. A truly memorable moment for me in this course is the one I was the most excited to present. I have wanted to do a voiceover for sports for as long as I can remember, so when I got the chance, I came prepared. The pronunciation, the facts, and the goal! I remember everyone watching me like I was actually on TV, and there's no way people remember me going, Messi, 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 Messi. You already know what time it is. It's vocal exercises time. Let's begin. She says she shall sew a sheet. She says she shall show 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 a sheet. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. 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 Diction is done with the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Diction is done with the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Diction is done with the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Diction is done with the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Diction is done with the tip of the tongue and the teeth. Red leather, yellow leather. Hey, red leather, yellow leather. I noticed fast that my biggest challenges were confidence, timing, and the effectiveness of my speech. I had to overcome. And I also learned fast that to get better, I had to be prepared and make the most of what I'm given. I improved how I presented myself to the crowd and how to read them. That gave me confidence. This knowledge will help me in the future as I can better judge the situation and remember what it is like to be in the audience. Not to toot my own horn, but when it comes to class participation, there were very few who came close to matching my effort. From the beginning, I knew there would be participation marks, so I made it a personal goal to participate for everything. In improvements, I am giving myself a 4 out of 5 though, and I know I gained confidence and really fine-tuned my vocal skills, but I did find myself not taking risks in areas to even begin improvement. In being a positive peer in the course, I do give myself a 5 because I consider myself a good audience member and I made 4 or 5 friends I talk to outside of school now as well as in the Discord. For creativity, I also give myself a 5. I went outside the box relating so many different stats in my SDG and I even incorporated my name 8 times indirectly into my intro speech. Volunteerism? 5. I quite literally raised my hand for everything, even to be the husband in Kanika's marriage toast. And I took as many social risks as I could. I went to yoga. I did the voiceover in advance to learn pronunciation. I was the course participation guy, so I also give myself a 5. The end of this presentation also marks the end of my speech to inform journey. I would just like to thank the instructional team for being engaging with the activities and every type of learning. I am extremely grateful for not having to sit through 3-hour lectures every time without talking, and I am grateful for the way it was structured. I really would like to give some feedback to make next semesters better, but I really enjoyed myself. I never missed a class, and in 6 weeks I don't think there's anything that could be improved on. Thank you again.